Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Feeding the Curious Mind. My name's John Pullen, and I'm an author of both fiction and non-fiction. In today's episode, we're going to look at an early 19th century theatre and how things went wrong. Now, theatres are an important part of cultural life in many parts of the world. I try and go every month or so in London. I'm very blessed with many theatres, and that's true of many major capitals around the world. The average theatre goer also has possibly a reputation of being a cultural person, interested in the playwright's works, and this has been going on for thousands of years, of course. Now, if we go back to 1808 in London, one of the most popular theatres there was the Covent Garden Theatre. But in that year of 1808, it burnt down. The owner was a person called John Kemble, and he was left with the job of trying to rebuild it. He did manage to do this, but at a very great financial cost. And so with the rebuilding, he decided he had to recoup some of this money. So there were changes in the structure of the building inside, and he also put the prices up. Now, the price increase was 1 shilling, which for those of you that don't remember old British money, is equivalent to 5 pence. Not a lot today, of course, but it was back in those days. The opening night came and everyone was excited. They filled the auditorium, but they weren't happy, of course, with the new price increase. The play started, but as it went on, people got more and more agitated. In fact, you see, part of the problem was that the redesign of the inside of the theatre included removal of the old third tier and instead the implementation of special boxes which could only be afforded by the very wealthy. Another problem was a new gallery was created, and those sitting there realised there was a design fault. They could actually only see the legs of the actors on stage. So trouble started. People started shouting and trying to disrupt the play. They then started chanting, old prices, so much so that the police were called, and they had absolutely no effect on the audience. Eventually the play finished, but did the audience leave? No. They stayed on chanting and all the rest of it and making their protestations until 2 a.m. the next day. So was that the end of the matter? No. For the next 67 nights, there was trouble in the theatre. People would arrive halfway through the play and disrupt proceedings. Others turned up with placards and posters and put them up all over the theatre. Others were chanting and just totally destroying any chance that the plays would be successful. John Kemble tried a number of things, including putting magistrates on the stage, issuing orders that people would be taken from the theatre and charged with various crimes. A set of lawyers were also hired and tried to do the same thing. None of this, to be honest, worked at all. Eventually, after 67 days, John Kemble, one evening then, went up on stage himself and said, "Okay, you all win. I'm going to reduce the prices back to where they were, and I'm very sorry for what happened." That worked, and in fact he received a standing ovation. That was probably the best performance they'd had for months there. So what happened? They the audience, that is, decided that a celebration dinner was in order. So they organised one and invited John Kemble as guest of honour. We don't actually know whether or not he was charged for the meal, or in fact whether they sat him down somewhere where he could only see the legs of the waiters.